How Jesus judged the new things he came across. The story of his exploits among the wise men in the temple at Jerusalem was a source of pride for all Nazareth, especially for his former teachers at the synagogue school. For a time, he was praised by all. Expectations were raised. It was prophesied that he was destined to become a great leader in Israel, and at last, a great man would arise from Nazareth. As Jesus grew older, compassion and love for the Jewish people increased in him. But as the years passed, a growing, justified resentment rooted in him at the presence of the priests who had been appointed to the temple for political reasons. In his developing mind, the distinction of spirits unfolded. Jesus had great respect for the upright Pharisees and the honest scribes, but at the same time, he had great contempt for the power-hungry personalities who hypocritically assumed the role of Pharisee out of selfish motives. What Jesus learned much from was a test of value that he astutely developed. Of everything he encountered, of every social institution or religious custom, he asked himself three things. 1. To what extent does it benefit the soul of man? 2. Does it bring God closer to man? 3. Does it bring man closer to God? His still young, developing personality radically looked down with contempt on all religious leaders who were not sincere. When he viewed the leaders of Israel critically, the possibility sometimes arose in his mind of becoming the Jewish Messiah so that he might reform this corrupt stronghold. But he never yielded to this temptation. These adolescent years, however, were crucial years in which his dual nature unfolded in synchronicity. In his spare time, he liked to be alone, often taking hikes to the tops of the hills northwest of Nazareth to pray and reflect there. He gradually became more aware of the nature of his self-giving on earth. After Jesus finished school, he became an apprentice carpenter in the workshop next to their home in Nazareth. In the early years, Jesus mostly made furniture. Although school was finished, he continued taking advanced reading courses under the guidance of the synagogue teachers. He also resumed his music lessons, playing the harp he loved. During the long winter evenings, it was often cozy in the house of Joseph, and daily, guests came to see Jesus, to hear him play on the harp or to have a good time listening to his stories because the boy could tell stories masterfully. It can truthfully be said that Jesus grew up in grace with men and with God. The family's prospects seemed good, the future looked bright. Joseph had saved money so that when Jesus became 15 years old, he would be able to study in Jerusalem. His parents had already enrolled him in an academy for rabbis. Then suddenly, like a thunderclap, his father Joseph perished.